Carrie Lam now at the Legislative Council reporting. The policy address has been held last week. The Q&A session is now a controversial topic among the society. People are also questioning the government that they're not fulfilling their wills. And I'm glad to have our guest, the pro-democracy legislator, Mr. Lam, checked in here today to answer the questions. Hi, Mr. Lam.
Hello.
So after the Q&A session last week, the Hong Kong citizens found think the government didn't fulfill any of the wills and didn't fulfill the promises. So would you help the citizens to get what they deserve?
Right now, because of the political crisis happened in Hong Kong for months, and I do think most of our Hong Kong people are focused on whether the government could resolve the crisis as soon as possible. Those livelihood issues mentioned in the policy address, of course, the Hong Kong people will pay attention to it, but the crux of the problems of Hong Kong right now is to how to resolve the crisis. So I don't think the policy address really answer our Hong Kong people request, and it is very disappointing that Carrie Lam failed to provide any solution in response to the protest and the chaotic situation right now. She just repeated that she adhere the rule of law principle. The government must suppress the violence in the community, blah blah blah. But it will do nothing to help to ease the tension of Hong Kong.
As you mentioned, you said it is the most important thing to do is to resolve the crisis right now. And I believe some citizens said that through the Q&A session, you are able to question Carrie Lam about the protests and any other social issues. However, you didn't, instead of asking questions, you protest during the Q&A session. And some citizens think that it is not effective to show that dissatisfaction and also their wills. So what's your response on that?
I think first of all, it's not just my protest. The Pan-Democrats also protested against Carrie Lam. It is the first time after the 612 incident that Carrie Lam come to the Legislative Council building. As the Legislative Councillor, I have the obligation to express our anger of Hong Kong people to Carrie Lam. And of course, some of my colleagues decided to ask questions, and on that date, only 3 of them were able to ask questions. And I believe on that date, Carrie Lam only reiterate her stance to try to suppress the protest by force, and failed to respond to the 5 demands we have asking for the government's response for so long. So it is our duty to protest against Carrie Lam. And as the chief executive, more than 80% of Hong Kong people oppose her. Almost half of the Hong Kong people gave her 0 marks during the poll. So she had lost all her credibility as the chief executive. So she should have stepped down because of the political crisis orchestrated by her.
And you mentioned that your obligation, I think that your obligation, your duty is also to question the government. And through the Q&A session, when you were protesting, you were shut out during the Q&A session, and some citizens might think that it has already threatened your position. What do you think about that?
Oh, there are plenty chances that I could question the government, including Carrie Lam. We have legislative council meetings every week. Secretary or even the chief executive come to the council regularly. So that's not the only chance we could question her or the government.
So you think the Q&A session is not the only chance to express the opinion to the chief executive? So if you have the chance, if you have the chance to ask your questions again, what will you be asking for the citizens?
I would like to ask Carrie Lam that 80% of Hong Kong people oppose you. Almost half of Hong Kong people gives you 0 marks. You have already lost all the support from Hong Kong people. And why don't you just step down to fulfill your election promise that if you have already made decisions, but those important policy decisions opposed by Hong Kong people widely, then you promise to step down. Why don't you just fulfill your promise to step down from the chief executive? I think that's the last contribution that you could help Hong Kong.
So instead of other than questioning Carrie Lam, what other action do you think you could do? Because the protest has been happened for several months, and some people are still furious about it, and some of them are disappointed and slowly think that the government is useless. They're doing nothing. So what will be the next action for the pro-democracy camp?
We will make use of all the channel and the mechanism within the Legislative Council and force the government officials to answer questions. And we will keep very close cooperation with our civil society and join hand to hand with Hong Kong people to force the government to answer our 5 demands as soon as possible. Of course, we will also enlist the support of the international community and to urge them to pay attention to the Hong Kong situation. And if they could support us to fight for our democracy and freedom, that's really encouraging for for Hong Kong people?
I believe the action would definitely encourage the Hong Kong citizens, but would there be any concerns that you would be stopped by the government
For
having a pro-democracy thought and helping the citizens against the government?
Of course, we could not be optimistic about the development of Hong Kong. Right now, if you just post a message on your Facebook at your private times, you may be fired by your companies. I don't think it is the promise of our basic law that we enjoy our freedom of speech. So the situation undoubtedly is turning back to worse. But we Hong Kong people have no choice. Hong Kong is our hometown. We have to fight. We have to defend our city, our core values, our system. And we will fight for democracy and protect our next generation, that we could enjoy our freedom for decades. And it's an uphill battle, undoubtedly. I hope all the Hong Kong people and the